Welcome to the latest episode of Think Fast. What we want to do on this one is one we owe our podcast listeners. If you listen to the podcast, we said we were going to have this YouTube video up on the topic of pornography, especially the practical side of it and how to overcome, how to address it. And so on that podcast episode, if you have not heard the episode, we did an hour's worth of discussion on the problem of pornography, a lot of different things. This is kind of an add-on to that. So really recommend go check that out. Think Deeper podcast, the pornography episode. We said on that episode, again, we're going to be right back with a YouTube video giving you some more practical tips of how to address it in your own life, in your home, with your kids, just handling this topic. And then I got deathly ill for like 3-4 days. And then Joe and his wife had a baby. And so they were out of commission. Will has taken off to counsel a summer camp. And so we just decided we're going to have to shoot this. So Will is absent for this episode, but we got to get this information out there. We've had a few requests about it since releasing the episode. So let's get into it. Let's talk about the problem of pornography. Again, the bulk of the discussion is on the podcast episode, but this one, let's start with to parents. We're going to talk to people struggling with it themselves, but let's start with parents. You open up the computer and something's funny. The history's all been deleted, or an interesting, strange website shows up in the browser, or you see your kid getting real, shifty with their phone or their tablet or their school computer or whatever it may be. How do you discuss it? Or even before that, my kids never had the problem, but I know this is something that might be thrown at them. How do I do it? So I'm going to put it to you. Joe does a lot of work in this field, and so I'm mainly just going to be teeing him up for the topics in this one. What discussions should people be having with their kids in this topic?
Sure. Start young is what I would say. Start very young. There's this misconception that you should have the talk. I really hate that, actually, because it relegates the sexual discussion with your kids to one time. And you're sweating it out and just got through that one, right? And your kid's like, this is really awkward. And so what it teaches them is sex is awkward. They will find it where it's not awkward. There's actually a huge online community that celebrates sex. It's called porn. It's messed up. It is not what sex is intended to be, but most kids don't know that because parents don't tell them that. So
Well,
what
and the
I would
talk
say,
tells them as a parent, don't come to you. Like, this is not something I
right,
want to discuss with you at all.
they're not comfortable with it. My parents aren't comfortable with sex at all, and so we've got to do something about it, right? I'm still curious. I want to know. So they run to porn in different places to their friends. They might run across it that way. So I would say start early, have lots of talks. There's a great book. I'll just show it here called Touchy Subjects by Craig Gross and David Dean, who is, I believe, a comedian, a Christian comedian, and great book, Touchy Subjects. And it's really getting away from the idea of the talk. Don't shame your kids. Parents, don't shame your kids. Don't stigmatize sex. You want to be the expert in your kid's life. That's really what it comes down to. You want to be the expert in your kid's life on sex, and they know that you're the expert. They come to you. Mom, Dad, I ran across porn the other day. All right, that's those things happen. What'd you feel like? What'd you see? Or rather, where did you see it, right? How'd you find it? How'd you run across it? If they are deep in the addiction, you're going to start feeling like a failure. You're going to, you might shame yourself out. How did I allow this in my home? Have your breakdown on your own time. Please don't do that in front of your kid. That can scar them quite a bit when you break down as to feeling like you're a failure. You're not a failure. This is not a matter of if, but when your kid runs across it. Create an open atmosphere in your home. We're going to get to that on the back end with the church, but it's the same thing. Create that atmosphere in your home where they feel they can come to you and tell you, I ran across porn, and you accept it and you go, man, I'm sorry you had to see that. Let's talk about it. What'd that feel like for you? Let's see how we can maybe shore this up where you don't run across that again. But thank you for telling me. I really appreciate you coming to me. That's the discussion we want. You catch them in the middle of it. You find they've been deleting the browser history. Son, what's going on? We notice this is the case. We think we know very much what this is about, but can you please tell us? And don't shame them over it. Let them know this is a common struggle, but something that we definitely want to get a hold on. This isn't what God designed. And more than anything, we want to take a kind of a sad posture of, I'm sorry that you're going through this, that you had to see that, whatever it is, not a judgmental, shameful tone.
Right. And kind of a teamwork of we'll make this where it's not going to be a problem. We're determined to make sure you don't end up in a decade-long addiction.
Yeah.
So let's go to that other side of it. People that are in a long-term addiction, people that, or even maybe there's a teenager who's watching this that's just started down this road and thinking, man, I shouldn't do this. I really like it. You know, like there's all the pull of it, but shouldn't be doing it. Or again, the people, and there are millions who, I mean, the internet's been around a long time now. And so people that are decades deep into this, how do they confess? One of the biggest things that we advocate, we talk about on the episode, you got to get it out into the light. You're not going to handle this on your own. This is a sin that it drives you into yourself. And so one of the only ways to overcome it is to come out of yourself. And so, but man, I think most people who have struggled with the addiction have been there of, I can't tell anybody this. They're not gonna, like, they're gonna think so poorly of me, or they're gonna be mad at me, or I don't even know what to say. So I'll put it to you again, how to confess it. If somebody's in that situation right now, what's their next move?
Realize, first and foremost, we touched on this in the podcast, you're not alone. Okay. There are millions and millions. That has to start. Why do we say that? Why is it important to know you're not alone? Because we look at it and say, this is the most shameful thing in the world. If I tell people, they're going to look at me as a perv. And some people might. Okay. Some people might. Don't worry about that. You have to hit rock bottom. And in hitting rock bottom, realize even if I lose my entire reputation, I want out that badly. Um, so it's okay if you lose your reputation, because the right people, the people that matter in your life, the people that are truly supportive, you won't lose reputation. They're actually going to be grateful that you came forward with it. So
I think that's a very
find,
valid application of Jesus saying, cast your hand from you, cast your eye from you, pluck it out, do whatever it takes. Well, whatever it takes might be hurting your reputation, might be telling
sorry,
somebody, I've got a sin struggle. But again, as he says, you're better to go, be saved that way than going to hell whole, with your reputation intact. And so, yeah, do what it takes.
absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, and it's scary. I get it. I was the goody two shoes homeschool kid, went to Bear Valley. Dad was an elder. Like, it shouldn't have happened to me. I should have been the kid that rose above, and I didn't. It's because I'm human, and there's a lot of other people that are human, and I struggle with it a lot. And so, yeah, I had to lose to kind of throw off the goody two shoes reputation, and it's the greatest thing I ever did. So there's hope out there. I would say if you're coming forward with it, find somebody that you really, really trust, somebody that um, you're okay with them knowing the deepest part of you, because this is an intimacy addiction. You lack intimacy. You lack somebody really knowing you at your core, at your depth, not the sexual intimacy, but being known
You're
on
hiding
a deep
something.
level.
You're hiding
Yes,
yourself away, right?
correct.
So
So
the
you want to
other,
come forward with that.
I'll add to that, the first person you tell might react poorly. It might be somebody you think you can trust, and they go, I can't believe you struggle with that,
Yep.
essentially get back unclean. That's going to be, if that happens, it's a big discouragement. Go back to what we said a minute ago. Keep your eyes on the prize. That, if I have to go through 10 people who judge me for it and won't, they're going to hold it over my head. Okay, but the point is to overcome this. The point is to get past it. And so don't let that stop you either. And really, it just goes to what Paul says, when I'm weak, then I'm strong. And when I acknowledge my weakness and my need for Christ, then I can be strong. So that's good stuff on how to confess it. Let's get into some practical of the phones we have, the computers we have. Software has come a long way in helping us. I mean, for all the bad stuff that you can find and all the bad things that softwares and apps and websites bring into our lives, there's some helpful stuff. And so give us a quick rundown of some things people can be aware of, tools that they can use, accountability software, blocking software. What do you got?
Absolutely. I'm going to share my screen for this one. This is first and foremost, I'm a big proponent of Covenant Eyes. They are leading the way in what they can do. I mentioned this on the podcast. They do screen accountability, meaning they take screenshots and they send it to an accountability partner. My brother's mine. He gets my screenshots. My wife's on there. And so, what is, you think you're getting away from it. Maybe you put in a DVD or whatever. It still is capturing that. It doesn't just take Wi-Fi. I am a huge proponent of this. Yes, it costs money, but they also have a lot of different resources on their site. So I appreciate that. They got a great ebook. This is a free one. At least it was. I think you can do a paid version of this. X3 Watch is what it's called. It's been featured on a bunch of different things. And overall, it's not any filter. It's just an accountability report. It'll generate this report and send it to an accountability partner. And then they can say, hey, we notice you're looking at this. What's going on? I used to use this. Obviously, it's free for the penny pinchers. I honestly, I put my money on Covenant Eyes. Another, if you really want to go radical, is Pluckeye, pluckeye.net. And what it does is just removes all the images, as you can see right here. That's what they do. They remove all the images from the site. So if you really want like an extreme filter type of thing, I think that's pretty good as well. For the parents, good pictures, bad pictures, great book to start with. Yes, it's basic, but it's also a good book to start with that kind of going back. X3 Pure is the same people who do X3 Watch. I actually did this program. I think it's 30-day was when I did it. A 30-day program, and it helps some. And it uses CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, which does help. There's downloadable workbook, there's video sessions, things like that. And it certainly can help you kind of understand triggers and more the basic behavioral end. For accountability, if you want to join an accountability group, our tribe actually is pretty good. Yes, it's done for organizational stuff, but they also have accountability. And what it does, daily check-ins, set goals and track progress, science-based framework, grow with a coach.
What was the name of that one again?
Our Tribe. It's 4 streams by Our Tribe, ourtribe.org.
Like the letter R Tribe?
Correct. R is in Roger. Next one is Defend Young Minds. Used to be Protect Young Minds. Now it's Defend Young Minds. They got a lot of great resources for parents, for people like that. How do you have the conversation? So good resources out there. Changing Lanes Ministry has some groups you can do, mentoring, church partnering. They have an event. Let me say this. I don't know that any of these are actually Church of Christ. So yes, you're going to get maybe some of the Sinner's Prayer or whatever in some of their content. I'm not going to back all of it. Obviously, we disagree with those things. I'm not picky because, look, nobody in the Church of Christ is really doing much on porn addiction. Not that I'm aware of. So I'm trying to change that. That's something we're going to look to implement more at Focus. But just know that. So yes, you're going to get a few things. These are Christian organizations. Proven Men is another one. There's real good stuff on Proven Men. Fortify is another great one. Quit Porn for Good. They do the science. This is also, if anybody knows, Fight the New Drug. They have kind of put together Fortify with psychologists and all of that. And so that's their people. Another one, Route 1520. I'm going through these fast just so everybody knows. Please pause the video if you'd like. Get a hold of us. We can certainly give you this information if you'd like. If you say, man, that's too fast, we're just trying to make it quick. Route 1520 does intensives, does curriculum. As far as intensives go, I've done work with these people. I was part of the very first one that they did. Begin Again Institute is the main one. They did a distinctly Christian intensive. This is in Boulder. Yes, it is expensive, and yes, it is worth it. I run aftercare groups. It is a 2-week intensive. They have 10 men per. And for the money, it is again quite expensive. In my opinion, is worth it. And every guy you talk to, and every guy that I do aftercare with, and I've done some personal counseling, individual counseling with some, I believe it's very worth it. So if you're extremely addicted to porn, your husband's extremely addicted to porn, we've dealt with the prostitutes and the massage parlors and things like that, down to just somebody who is looking at porn. It really can go for anybody that is a true sex addict. And so, yeah, I think Boulder Recovery, what they do there, and again, I've been very blessed to be able to work with them. Great people there. They are Christendom, not Church of Christ again, but really solid stuff. So just for that, I know that's a kind of a long, but also quick rundown.
It's great news that there are this many things out there, because even 10 years ago, where pornography addiction was a very strong, it already had its tentacles in millions of people, there wasn't much out there. And so with all those things, there's a lot of good things out there. On the other hand, on protection, especially we're going to look at parents, but even, warning people who might have their own struggles. There's a lot of apps, a lot of things on the phone. We had an episode a couple back about tech addiction, and we all came down on the side of, your teenager really doesn't need a smartphone. Your high school kid, your middle schooler especially. There's just too much they can get into. That they can get addicted to it really easily and too early and all that. But let's say that's it's too late. They're already down that road. What do parents need to be aware of? What do people need to be aware of places where you can really get yourself into some trouble, where kids are finding things? Give us a quick rundown. I know you've got some info on that as well.
Absolutely. I will briefly say, for those that are saying, addiction really, is my kid addicted? Can I get addicted? I forgot to say, Your Brain on Porn. There is some cussing in this book. This is not by a Christian. But Your Brain on Porn is a fantastic rundown of, yes, this is very addictive. What it does to the brain is very sad. Um, but anyway, yes. So for the apps, I actually have a presentation on on all things tech and such, keeping our kids safe and things. But this is just one of the slides. I'm not going to go through every single one of them. Parents, these are things you probably need to be aware of. If your kids have these on their phones, look them up. See if they have them. This is not for those who are addicted to porn to go out and go, oh, let me look at these. So please don't take it that way. At the same time, a lot of these they're not porn apps. They are messaging apps that can be very dangerous, especially for young kids. These chat apps, GroupMe and Kick and things like that. Lipsy, some of the less known ones. Facebook's all the way down the list because kids just aren't on Facebook that much these days. The main ones you really got to worry about are TikTok. The LGBTQ movement is very active on that. A lot of sexual content. Instagram, obviously. Twitter, there's a lot on there. Snapchat, Periscope, YouTube, of course, you can find things. Well, it's kids YouTube. I know people. I think I mentioned this on the podcast. Kids that started on kids YouTube, and next thing you know, we're watching some extremely inappropriate videos on YouTube because they got around it, and it was kind of an accident, kind of not. It stopped being an accident. I think the first one was Discord, Reddit, Twitch, WhatsApp, Telegram. Know these apps. Be aware of these apps. Calculator apps is another one. If you see just a random calculator app, look, phones come with a calculator app. They don't need one of those. If you see that on your kids, a lot of those are hiding pictures. It's a picture-based app, and so theoretically they can hide nudes, things like that are for sexting, things that are very common, unfortunately, for kids today. But these are
Well,
just,
and get to know the parental controls if you're a
yes.
parent. You know what? The other thing is, if I made use of this, you've made use of this. If you're an adult who struggles with this stuff, have a friend, have a family member, have an elder. Use the parental controls on your phone to shut stuff off. I mean, like those are
Yeah.
useful tools, and so not just watching out for those apps, but also implement those things that you can use on the other side.
We're
Um,
gonna have videos, by the way, coming out. I've been working on them. I shot the videos. I got to edit. I got to get them out. We will have videos for Android and for Apple, for iPhone, iOS,
just how
of how
to.
to set parental. Yes, how to
All right.
set parental controls. Those are coming.
That'll be good stuff. All right, quickly, because I don't want to stay here too long. And again, the episode is there with all kinds of good information. Um, on the other side, when somebody comes to you with the addiction, whether it's your child, whether it's a good friend, whether you're an elder or a preacher, and somebody, a man in your church says, I've got this problem. Um, I'm just briefly going to address churches creating an open atmosphere. One of the first things, and I said this on the episode, but I'll say it again, you got to preach on it. You've got to talk about it as if this is a problem that we know people in our group struggle with. Don't talk about it. Wow, this is a thing that some really bad people do. Talk about it the same you do about gossip, about anger, about anything else, because you've got people statistically who struggle with it, and they need to know that if I struggle with it, my elders are not going to be shocked. My minister's not going to be shocked. They're going to be a resource. They're going to be okay with it if I open up to them. And so, as churches, you've got to have kind of that open door, that open. Just keep it out of the shadows. You don't need to be up there preaching on it every week, but you need to have
Sure.
sermons on it. You need to have discussion on it. You need to just let people know we are a resource for it. On the other hand, I'll turn it back to you. How can you be a good accountability partner? If you're an elder or a minister, somebody comes to you, a friend comes to you and says, I need accountability. Um, what are the right ways to help somebody in that situation?
Once again, I'm just going to share my screen one last time here. I mentioned this on the podcast. I have a seminar on porn addiction. This is just a part of it, what I do, and I figure I'll just throw this up there. What should you do? You should, well, I'll start with the don'ts. Don't ask what they looked at. Um, don't ever act out of shock. You may be shocked at what they've done, what they've looked at, whatever it is. Acting out of shock really gets right into the shame cycle. Don't lecture. You're not here to lecture. And don't shame them for sure. But on what should you do as an accountability partner? You're there to offer love and support, not condemnation. Okay. They've gotten a lot of condemnation. That's what they're afraid of. They're afraid of being shamed. Offer love and support. What that means is you be consistent, set timers if you have to, make sure you're reaching out consistently. Ask them how they felt. Identify the triggers. What happened? Where did you find it? What were you feeling at the time? What room were you in? Start exploring. We want to get very exploratory about this, kind of scientific about what's going on with them. Encourage them up. Man, you got this. Keep up the fight. rope others in if they're comfortable with it. Rope others in. Have a group of 3, 4, 5 guys that can be on a text thread and calling each other. And man, I'm struggling right now. Or I just felt okay. Give me a call. We'll work on it. Seek the deeper issues. Um, they are, typically a lot of the triggers we can know it's a certain room of the house or whatever it is. They were home alone. That's a trigger. But a lot of times it's emotional. Man, I was feeling lonely. Seek the deeper issues and then pray for them every day. You got to pray for them. Let them know that you're praying for them. Be a prayer warrior. Prayer works. We know that can give them the boost that they need. One of the things I'll say, I'm just going to do the biggest thing is you're there to provide that missing piece of intimacy, that openness, not to pass judgment. I think that's really what people need to know. For accountability partners, as it goes to seeking the deeper issues, I'm just going to get this in there real fast and stop my share. You can't treat everybody the exact same. One of the reasons a lot of the intensives, Boulder Recovery deals with 10 guys and each guy gets their own therapy. A lot of the intensives, the X3 Pure, things like that, they take pornography as a whole. You have to know your own deeper issues. I'm just going to say that briefly, but you have to know your own deeper issues and what's driving it. A lot of the reasons those things fall apart. Man, I've read all the books. I've done all the accountability. I've done all this stuff. What you're doing is, especially when the accountability is not done right, you're growing this and not working on this. The heart isn't changing. The deeper issues, the trauma that you've been through, the reasons why you're running to porn have not changed. That's why I do therapy. I specialize in sex addiction, is because we're not just learning triggers and behavioral changes. We're really working on the emotional needs, the chasm that is there that porn is filling. So we do a lot of trauma work and brain spotting and reparenting and a lot of things that I think can help others. And so it's not just, I think a lot of people think they're just, if I can change the behaviors, if I can just get some accountability, that'll change it. Not always, but the accountability partners have to start there. Please be consistent. That's the biggest thing. Please be consistent. That's what I'd say to that.
All right. So we just covered a lot of ground in like 20 minutes. Again, there's an hour's worth on the podcast episode, which is also available here on YouTube. Just go to our channel if you want to listen to it that way. Think deeper on your podcast app if you want to listen to it that way. We want to get the information out. We want to get the resources out. We want to help you fight this battle, whether you're a parent, whether you're somebody that's in the midst of the battle yourself, wherever you are. This is the great plague of our day, and it's something that we have to actively fight back against. And so I think that's going to wrap it up for today, unless you have anything else to add.
No.
All right. Keep at it. Keep in prayer. But we want to see everyone overcome this. And so stay strong, do what you need to do. And
I will say,
okay,
we've had a couple people from the podcast reach out and say, we listen to your podcasts. This is something my son's struggling with. This is something, I'm struggling with, my husband, whatever it may be. We've had a few people reach out, which is fantastic. Please reach out to us. Give us a call, email, Jack at Focus Press, Brad at Focus Press. Let us know. We can put you in touch with the right people. Something
the best way to get us is the Think Deeper podcast page on Facebook. And so reach out that way.
Messages,
do what it takes. Do what it takes. And with that, we will wrap today's episode.